This is Krovan back once again with Ryas Nia for Morsus Mihi versus Unaffiliated. Morsus Mihi has brought 2 Armageddons, a Typhoon, 2 Cyclones, Guardian, 2 Catalysts, and 2 Eris, sorry, and 2 Sabers.
And it looks like the unaffiliated brought a Tengu, Nighthawk, Drake, Basilisk, Rook, Saber, Ishkur, and a Stiletto. And we've got, matches almost underway here in a minute, so we can talk a little bit about positioning here. The unaffiliated coming in, it looks like about 40, 50 km from the beacon, obviously a little bit up off the plane. Meanwhile, the Morsus Mihi RPer team has come in at 0 directly on top of the beacon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm a little bit excited to see a lot of close range damage. It's no secret that I am a fan of close range laser ownage, so hopefully we'll get a little bit of that here because, as previously stated, not a huge fan of the missile logistics setup.
Personally, I love the Typhoon. I am so excited to see Plague Black in a Typhoon. That is one of the most beautiful models in game. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but you're all wrong. It looks just awesome. It is true Mimitar. It is, split damage type, whole bunch of drones, and the match is underway. So now we're going to have to watch as they Morsus Mihi team, or no, sorry, as the unaffiliated try and hold range, and Morsus Mihi try and get their damage onto those squishy little shield tankers.
Yeah, and it looks like both teams now have launched. I'm only seeing damage drones at this point. Morsus Mihi does have a few light armor maintenance bots out, and now some heavy armor maintenance bots out. Probably, well, they're probably from that Typhoon, but they could be from the Geddons as well.
Well, all 3 ships getting 125 meters of bandwidth, able to launch that. One of the Cyclones, taking some pretty heavy armor damage, waiting for Quarjet to get his reps going again. Quarjet obviously, been flying the Guardian a whole bunch in these matches, doing a pretty darn good job keeping his team alive. He may actually be jammed, though, because I'm just not seeing any reps going.
No, I'm not. It looks like...
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, no, there we go. Quarjet's remote reps just activated. He has some remote rep drones on him as well, but it's a little too late as that Cyclone goes down. We're also looking at one of the... let's see, was it one of the frigates for unaffiliated, also in deep shield at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the unaffiliated have gone off after the mid-level DPS. I mean, the Cyclones are a little bit weaker target than the battleships, but still put out a significant amount of DPS, whereas the Morsus Mihi team is trying to focus on the frigates, probably because those frigates are going to control range in this match. Those frigates are going to have webs, possibly scramblers to disrupt micro-warp driving. And, if Morsus Mihi can't get their battleships into range, Morsus Mihi can't do damage.
Right, and we're seeing one of the Ishkers here target painting, trying to zoom out and see the E-War effects here on some of the others.
And Morsus Mihi losing their second Cyclone while one of their Sabers also, popping. That's, a problem for them. They need those destroyers and those Sabers to, basically kill these frigates as fast as possible. It's entirely possible they're having a hard time getting locks right now. I mean, the Rook could be jamming them. They have low sensor strength. And, that could impact them.
We've just lost the first Eris now for Morsus Mihi. Those Erises running blasters, it looks like. We've also lost one of the Ishkers for unaffiliated. But, those Ishkers target painting for these, now the second Eris down as well very quickly. And as what I was trying to say was it's because of the target painting that's going on to, in large part, these small ships being blown up far beyond their normal size, signature-wise, by the target painting that's going on. So these heavy missiles are hitting for just a ton of damage now. We're seeing the Basilisk being primaried for the unaffiliated team at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Soul probably not in too much danger at this point. It looks like there's some neutralizing going on. The Typhoon fitting torpedoes and neutralizers rather than doing the large projectiles. Probably a good call, seeing as, not even a third of the damage would come from those large projectiles since they're horribly unbalanced. But we are seeing, at least some damage being applied. They've gotten into range and are doing their best to really hit him hard.
hmm And we did end up losing that final saber for the Morsus Mihi team, and now one of their battleships is it looks like the Geddon of Amarli is taking some armor damage and is down to about 2/3 armor already. Meanwhile, they seem to still be working on that. They're still working on that basilisk and also a little bit of damage on one of those Ishkers as well.
Yeah, I mean, this may have been a bad call in terms of target priority for the Morsus Mihi team. You know, going after that rook may have been a better use of drones if they had damage drones rather than using the remote rep drones, because I'm guessing that Quarjet is just having a really hard time locking up his teammates to do reps, because there's no reason for that Armageddon to be sinking that low right now.
No, and it looks like that Rook probably not doing a lot of jamming at the moment as the Typhoon is right on top of him and sucking his cap dry at this point. I am seeing cap transfer here. Is that coming from the Drake to the Basilisk?
I do believe it is. It looks like that Drake is cap transferring to the Basilisk, probably because the Basilisk needs, the extra cap to run a local rep and actually take some of that damage coming in. That Armageddon, though, for Morsus Mihi about to explode, that's a hell of a lot of DPS that they're going to be missing on that field.
Absolutely. We're seeing pulses coming off of there. It's going to be they may not be able to bring down this basilisk now, depending on how strong its tank is. They're working quickly on that second Armageddon, who is starting to sink into armor and already at about 85%. And I know we were talking between the matches. It appears that the trend today, if there are still any betting pools open, bet on whatever team is going to be on the right side of your screen. Appears to be the winning strategy at this point. In that we are in our 5th match now, and the team on the right side of the screen has a handy lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's one hell of a trend, with Blue taking the win in every one of the previous matches. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I think that they made a real error. Morsus Mihi made a real error bringing remote rep drones. They get really big drone bays on all 3 of those battleships, and none of them, while being bonused like the Dominics, you're still looking at several hundred DPS, probably around 350 DPS for a fully skilled, group of ogres. And we've got some smart bombs on the Typhoon.
Oh, please tell me that's a Disco Foon.
No, I mean, he's got torpedoes as well, but it looks like he's probably running 2 neutralizers or 2 NOS and then 2 smart bombs on that Foon, or maybe just 1. Not a bad use of the 4 high slots. I still probably would have gone for more damage personally, because what do we like? We like DPS.
Yep, and now that Armageddon is just about to drop, and it'll be just... will it be just the Guardian and the Typhoon remaining for Morsus Mihi, who, again, a lot of people really liked to go far in this tournament, but they're going to be out in round 1 of the elimination, and in a very disappointing showing, frankly. Now we're seeing the Nighthawk as well. One of the Nighthawks for unaffiliated has a thermal smart bomb on and is popping all the drones that are sent his way. They're now working on that Foon of Plague Black, who is about 90% armor and dropping.
Yeah, and clearly the Rook, basically keeping Quarjet out of the entire match. He's got no reps running right now and is just kind of holding out at range. Oh, he just looks like he got free again and is remote repping. Now, he is running he is running ECCM, but I guess it's just not going to be enough. I mean, probably a max-skilled Rook pilot.
Yeah. Well, with Torps on that Foon, they may not be terribly worried about its DPS. With passive tanks on some of their ships, they may not be that worried about the cap drain either, especially at this point when there's not a lot of DPS out there on the field. So, that Rook may just be bearing down on the Guardian and only jamming the Typhoon if he happens to have a free racial jammer or a spare multi-spec that he's not needing for a cycle jam. But now we're seeing that Typhoon already out of armor and about to hit structure, and after that it is going to be a very short trip home for a Morsus Mihi team that, again, we're seeing a trend of the Pandemic Legion is the only team that I think I've picked correctly so far in this entire tournament.
Yep, and as that Typhoon goes down, that's really just a matter of minutes until Quarjet dies in his Guardian. Now, I do think that if I were the FC for the unaffiliated team, I probably would have put every jammer I had available at that point onto the Guardian and just let the Basilisk, basically rep up the torpedo damage. Even with his volley damage, if you were to, get a painter on something small, it's not going to be enough to do a whole lot.
No, no, absolutely not. As we're seeing that that Basilisk's, I believe it's locally tanked. It's either way, drones or local tank. Looks like local has managed to pull it back up without any real difficulty. As now we're seeing Quarjet, the final remaining member of the Morsus Mihi team, dipping into armor, and it's going to be another loss for role players in this alliance. As Morsus Mihi, obviously a well-known role-playing alliance, is going out in the first round.
Yeah, really too bad. Let's hope that Ursher Khan, does a little bit better later on.
Yeah, and Quarjet is down in his Guardians, so very solid victory for Unaffiliated, who knock out the heavily favored Morsus Mihi. So with that, we will send it back to the studio and CCP Soundwave.